Hello and welcome to day 6 of Zagreb Digital Nomad Week. We're here in the heart of Zagreb on Ilica at the Adidas Sports Studio. This is one of 4 in the world. They have them in London, Paris, Berlin and Zagreb. So this is a wonderful space with a store front that you enter through across 3 levels, and there's a gym, as you can see, and a co-working space. So we're about to have a live stream here from Mariska Fissette of the Wellbeing Workplace. So please enjoy day 6 of Zagreb Digital Nomad Week.
All right. I can start, right? Welcome, everyone. Great that you're here live as well on this beautiful Saturday in Zagreb. Welcome for everyone who is joining online. I'm very excited to give this masterclass about well-being today. I'm honored I can give this talk, so thank you all for having me here. I enjoyed some beautiful masterclasses and panels yesterday as well. So well-being, a very important topic, but a very broad topic as well. So how I think about well-being is as following. Well-being is taking care of what your body, mind, and soul need in order to live a meaningful life, a life that you truly want to live. And when you look back at your life when you're 80 or 90, and that you can truly say from the deepest of your heart, like, I lived the life that truly mattered to me most. And a lot of people don't live their life as they would love to live it. And I think that has to do with not taking care of yourself enough. Like well-being and wellness are words that are seen as a luxury, like on the end of the to-do lists of individuals and organizations as well. So I spoke to a lot of managers and organizations, and they are saying like, oh yeah, we arranged a workshop about mindfulness, check. We are taking care of our employees. I see it differently. When you take care of yourself, of your body, mind, and soul, of your employees, then you are aligned with what truly matters to you. You're aligned with your values. And when you're aligned and really take action on it, you have this energy. You're having this spark. You're in your flow. And when you have this energy, you can truly give to other people and help the world, instead of putting it at the end of your to-do list. So first taking care of yourself, and so you can help the world. That's actually what I tried to tell you. Maybe you already know the metaphor from the oxygen mask in the airplane. First put it on yourself and then help others, then help your children. So yeah, it's a topic that's really important to me. I grew up with a mom she had a severe burnout, and she went to hospital for it. And it was when I was a teenager. And I grew up with someone who gave her whole heart, her energy, everything to the children in her class and to me and my sisters. But she gave so much and she didn't treat herself very well. So she got burned out and she had to sleep during the day and stuff. And it was hard. And I decided at that moment, like, that's not how I am going to do it. It might feel selfish and it might sound selfish, but I have to put myself first and really tune in to myself, to what I need, and then help others. So today, I would love to help you a little bit with living the life you truly want to live. So maybe you are here or watching this, and you're thinking about becoming a digital nomad, or you're wishing for this remote life and career, but something is holding you back still. I would love to support you in this process and maybe inspire you to take the leap and take the big step, as a lot of people here already did, but maybe a small step to begin with. So what are we going to do in this masterclass? You will learn how to cope with internal obstacles that show up. We all have to deal with difficult thoughts, difficult emotions, situations during our life that are hard. And a lot of popular self-help book and gurus, they're like, first get rid of it. First, try to think positive. And then act on the life you really want to live. And today, I'm going to tell you everything about how to deal with these internal obstacles and already act upon what you truly want to do. And I'm doing that by sharing a behavioral psychology model with you that will help you. It will give you a clear overview, and it might help you to go into the direction and cope with it. And we'll also dive into the topic of focus, because living a meaningful, purposeful life is all about making choices, saying yes to stuff, saying no to stuff. It's about making choices. Where am I going to give my energy and love and time and money on? And where do I say no to? So it's all about a clear focus for a fulfilling life. And also, what I noticed is that a lot of remote workers and digital nomads, well, actually, that's the same, you told me yesterday, but like a daily focus. So I'll give some quick wins for your daily focus to increase your productivity during the day. Because when your head is full of all these things you have to do, you don't have time to really check in what you need. So I'll give you some quick wins about that as well. A little bit about myself. I only arrived 2 nights ago, so I'll introduce myself a little bit. I'm Mariska, I'm from the Netherlands. I studied organizational and clinical psychology, but I already knew when I finished my study, this is not my path. I don't want to be in an office all day, seeing 8 to 9 people a day and going on the same, like, again and again and again. That's just not for me. I admire the people who do so, but it's not for me. So after a couple of years, I decided to quit my job and book a one-way ticket to Sydney. I conducted my master thesis over there, fell in love with the city, and I said, like, I'm going to do this again sometime. So I was sweating, I felt anxious, I didn't even save any money. I felt very guilty to my manager to say that I would quit my job because I felt very responsible for the people who I was helping. And that's the thing, I did it anyway. Although I felt guilty, although I felt anxious, doing it anyway. So I took my husband with me. We went to Sydney, lived there, worked there, had the time of my life, literally. And what I love about remote work is that you're not like going out of your comfort zone or like being outside of the box. You just get rid of the box. Like, you meet all these new people, go on adventures, see new things, and that brings an energy. Like, that brings all these things that you can't plan or you can't schedule, unexpected things. And my husband and I, we had the same dream. We wanted to start a training and coaching business. But as I'm not coming from an entrepreneurial family and all my friends just had their job back home, I didn't know how to do so. But then in Sydney, and this is the thing I just love, some unexpected things happen. I ran into someone who told me about this great behavioral psychology. It's called acceptance and commitment therapy. You can look it up, ACT, if you're interested. It's beautiful. It's all about accepting what you can't change, accepting thoughts and feelings that are difficult, but still act on what you find important. And I bought a book about it. It's called The Happiness Trap. I can highly recommend it. And I was hooked. And I told my husband, this is the moment. We are going to start our business. I don't know how we are going to do it, but I know this is the sign. We will take this acceptance and commitment therapy back home, over the world, tell people about it, because this is what people do need. And we were lucky because the book was written by an Aussie guy. And we got a training with him in Australia. And we got trained and our visa expired. That's what happens as well when you do remote work, unfortunately. So we had to leave the country and we went on this world trip. And I don't know about you, but I'm not very good at laying at the beach all week. I need to do something. I want to contribute. That's very important to me. So while we were in the mountains of Nepal, we were writing our business plan. While we were in Vietnam, we were making our websites. And actually, the upper above photo is one of my favorites. That's when we were looking after a bed and breakfast in France. We made this kind of autocue. You can make it from a cardboard. That's what we figured out on YouTube. It's autocue for our free first online learning. And we made it there. So we were very excited to bring it back home and started our business. And now we've trained over 1,000 psychologists, therapists, managers to help them to help their clients and to help their people in their teams to better cope with these difficult thoughts and emotions, to live a fulfilling life. But what we discovered along the way, when we all met all these great people from all over the world, and when I spoke to other entrepreneurs as well, is that you don't only have to have a depression or have a burnout or have big problems. Like, everyone has these critical thoughts, like, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't do it. What will others think when I share this online? So that was when I started my second business as a business coach and help entrepreneurs to start their business, but also at the same time cope with all these difficult things. By now, 7 years later, we are starting the Wellbeing Workplace, and that will be a hub, an international hub where people come together and work from their hearts. They learn how to check in with themselves, act upon it, take care of their body, mind, and soul while working. Because a lot of yoga retreats are beautiful. I love it. But when I'm back home, I'm in a rush again. And I do miss that combination. So that's what we are starting now, the Wellbeing Workplace. That's a little bit about my story. And now, actually, I want to first kick off with a visualization. So you can ground, check in with yourself, and maybe discover new things, or maybe discover that you're on the right path. So look for a place where you feel safe and relax, and lay down on the ground if you wish so, or sit straight up in your chair, shoulders back, feet on the ground next to each other. Sit up straight, close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a bit, and breathe out through your mouth. We've had a busy week, so take this moment, enjoy this moment while we are playing in visualization. We are waiting for it, so take the time, breathe in through your nose, hold, breathe out slowly.
Welcome at the Wellbeing Workplace. I will guide you through this visualization. Welcome at the Wellbeing Workplace. It will help you to connect what truly matters through this visualization.
We have some troubles, so
it will
notice
help
what's
you
going
to
on
connect what
through your
truly
mind and
matters
body now.
most to you, to connect with your inner values, and hopefully to enable you to start doing more of what really matters to you. So make yourself comfortable. Sit down, lie down, everything is fine, just as long as you are comfortable. So close your eyes, and I'd like you to breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly. And try to breathe out a little bit longer than the in-breath. And try to slow down your breathing even a little bit more. Slowly in, slowly out. And I'd like you to imagine that you watch yourself from above, that you are floating above yourself, and notice that you become lighter. You're floating higher and higher. You notice that you are getting smaller and smaller. You are floating towards the clouds, and now you're floating above the clouds. You see the blue sky, and suddenly you're entering space. And in space you notice a new planet. And the good thing is that you can decide how this planet looks like. What do you see on this planet? What do you hear? What do you smell? But especially, what do you feel? What do you feel on this planet? Everything is possible. You decide how this planet looks like. And you also decide what people live on this planet. Everything is possible. Perhaps the people are living on this planet who no longer live on Earth. People you would love spending time with, but in reality never can spend time with. The question is, who are with you? And what are they telling you? Everything is possible. And what are you saying to them? How do you want to act towards the people who are most valuable to you? And what do you feel? What do you feel? Everything is possible. You decide how this planet turns. You decide who are amongst you, what they say, what you are saying, and you decide what you are doing. Everything is possible. So what do you see yourself doing if everything is possible? How do you act? With who are you talking? What do you say? What do you do? Where do you want to stand for? Where do you want to fight for? Everything is possible. You decide. And now, everything that you have seen, the people around you, the feeling you had, you all take it with you back to Earth. And you're going down towards Earth. You're floating above the clouds. You're floating through the clouds, below the clouds, and back to the place where you are now. And this experience you've just had, you take this with you in your current life. And notice that you are back in the here and now. Notice that you can move your fingers, your feet and toes, and open your eyes when you are ready. Thank you.
So take the time to stretch a little bit, to move your body a little bit. Take a deep breath in and out. And open your eyes when you're ready. So I'm very curious about your travels, your adventure, what you felt, what you saw. I'll put it on YouTube, so I'll share the link later so you can listen it back if you want to. So this is a visualization that might help you to inspire yourself. And when you are inspired and feel the energy and know with what people you can surround yourself, you actually live a life that truly matters, although there will be difficult things in life. So we will park this for a little moment and we will dive into this a little bit deeper later. We'll first go to focus. Because where attention goes, energy flows. Where do you want to focus on? What did you just see? What did you just feel and hear? What's important to you? And focus helps aim your attention. But normally we are so overwhelmed by our to-do list, by our emails or social media, that we don't get a choice to focus, or that we don't take a moment to focus. And focus can be disturbed by two things: external distractions and internal distractions. And the external distractions are pretty easy. Like there are sounds, or your cat, your dog, children, working in a cafe, people who are distracting you, all of those things. They're pretty easy to tackle. The most difficult part are our internal distractions, our thoughts, our critical thoughts. So for example, actually, this is the right moment to introduce someone I brought with me. She's called Anna, and she's inside my head. She's my critical voice, and she always tells me to do better. You can't see her, I can hear her. Sometimes she's whispering, sometimes she's screaming in my ear. And actually, Anna takes care of me. She wants me to do good in life, to treat people good, to help my clients very good. So she's actually taking care of me. But sometimes that's not working. Sometimes she gets in my head and I get insecure or I get anxious. And we all have this critical voice inside us. I've trained hundreds of psychologists in one room, and there was no one who didn't have this critical voice. And recognizing this critical voice, that's what we will talk about today as well. And I'll introduce Anna now, because I just heard her. When the audio didn't work immediately, I was sweating. I was like, oh no, maybe they can't hear it. What should I do? Oh no, what will they think of me? So that was Anna. And that helps me, because when I notice Anna and I name her and I say okay, that's Anna, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me to be here, to be present, and to give this masterclass to you. So I'm excited to talk more about this, but first, the easy, quick wins for focus. Because you might recognize this as remote workers, that it's great to have this freedom to decide what you are going to do on a day. Do I spend my day at the beach, or am I going to a co-working space? It's great. But if the downside of it can be that it is difficult to get into a structure, to have daily routines, and to motivate yourself every day. So that's why I share some quick wins first. What I love is tracking my time. When I've got a whole day for something, I'll spend the whole day on it. And then I'm at the end of the day, I sat behind my laptop 8 or 9 hours. What did I actually do? So setting a timer, I use Toggle. It's a free website. There will other ones be around. But I track my time. I give myself half an hour for a newsletter, and I'll do it. And sometimes I'm scrolling on my social media. I'm like, oh, oops, the time is ticking. I wasted my time. So that might help. Just try it out. This is one of my favorites. Choose 2 things a day. It sounds silly, it sounds stupid, but it does work. a lot of people I talk to are like having this endless to-do list and are crossing things off. But for everything they're crossing off their list, 3 things will be on there extra. So like by the end of the day, they don't feel fulfilled. By the end of the week, they don't feel fulfilled. They're like, oh, what did I actually do? So choose 2 things a day where you focus on, when are you happy today, and the extra things are bonuses. Work in time blocks, as well, an easy one, we all know it. But how it works is that when we try to do a lot of different things at the same time, like for example, talk to a colleague, order your cappuccino in the cafe, write an email, write an article, a blog, our brain has to switch all the time. And it's like running a marathon. We are asking a lot of our energy and of our brain, and there's no focus. And that's why you feel like so tired by the end of the day. So clustering tasks helps you with your focus, but also with your energy. So what I do is I've got like several blocks in my week. For example, on Friday, I have this block administration. And during the week, when something about administration comes in, I put it on I use Trello on my Trello board, and I know, okay, it's there. So I don't have to spend my energy on it. Because only when someone comes over to you and says, oh, can you help me? I've got a quick question, only 2 minutes. And you were like in your article, in your blog. Oh, no, sure, I'll help you. But it actually takes 20 minutes to refocus again. So a part of your brain is still at that article while you are talking to your colleague or coworker. And after you answer that question, you go back to your article, a part of your brain is still at the question of your colleague. You might recognize this, like when you're writing, like, oh, how did I came across? Oh, maybe I should have answered that. So your brain is like everywhere. So that's why working in blocks definitely helps. So make a schedule. That's what a lot of people do, scheduling, planning. But evaluate it every week, month and quarter, is what a lot of people don't do. So I love this because you look back and are asking yourself, did it actually work what I did? Like, did I have enough time for everything? Like a lot of people do overestimate what they actually can do. So did I have enough time? But actually also, did it work for me to stay at home behind my laptop by myself? Or did it drain me? Should I go to a co-working place instead? Or maybe sometimes I need to switch off from all the people around me and go back home. What did work for me and what didn't? So reflect on that, evaluate on that. Hang up a don't disturb sign, especially while working from home. It's like this vague line between having time off and working. So literally putting up a sign or a light bulb. I know people who have this light bulb. That does help by saying, I'm working now, I'm not working now. It does help. It's like clear in your brain that you have time off or not. And last but not least, this is the most difficult one for a lot of people. Check your email twice a day. I don't know if you know this one already, but I love it. Like, we think we should be available all the time. And then, like, we are responding all the time. But what you do have is you're living a reactive life. If people are asking you questions, oh, sure, I'll answer them. But it doesn't come from inside of you. What are your most important topics of the day? And also, again, it's that your brain is still everywhere because there are emails about a lot of different topics. So decide, how do you want to work? What does work for you? Like, I do say to a lot of my friends, like, don't send me DMs. That's for work. Send me an app. And as I tell my clients, if it's urgent, call me. But don't expect me to react on WhatsApp or email immediately. Be clear. So that were the practical things about focus. Now we are going to dive into the little bit more difficult things, the psychology. the internal obstacles. And that's the critical voice that's so annoying. It can be so annoying. But it can also be the more, the heavy emotions when we are going through difficult times in our life. And I'm sharing this model with you to help you not to get stuck into these critical thoughts and into these emotions, because emotions will show up. We will go through difficult things in our lives. And the thing is not getting hooked by it, not getting swept away by it or going totally into it. The thing is that you can look at it from above. So that's why I'm sharing a model, and this model is a matrix. Again, it comes from the acceptance and commitment therapy, and normally I only share it with the therapists and psychologists that I train. So matrix is having 4 squares. And to get those 4 squares, I'm going to draw 2 lines, obviously. And these 2 lines are 2 important distinctions we need to make. And the first distinction is between the outer world and the inner world. The outer world is everything that you can see, hear, touch, smell, everything. It's behavior. And we can see it from each other. So for example, this clicker in my hand, we can have a look at it. I can feel it. I can smell it. I can touch it. And the inner world is more about what happens inside of us. Our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations like pain. We don't really see it from each other. The other important distinction I'm making here is the toward move. The right side of this matrix is all about what's the life that's important to me? How do I want to spend my life? What's meaningful to me? So take a moment to reflect on a moment that you were truly aligned with what was important to you. That you were truly taking action on on your gut feeling, on your values. So for me, that was speaking to my manager and telling her that I was going to quit my job. And it didn't feel, I was in tears. But I knew from my gut feeling, this is the right decision. So take a moment. When were you doing something like that? When were you aligned? And how does that make you feel? And where do you feel that sensation in your body? I do feel sparks. I do feel joy. I feel joy. It's lighting me up. I'm true to myself. And I know with these acts, those acts I want to tell my grandchildren when I'm 90. You know? It was hard, but I did it. So that's toward. The other distinction is away. The left part of this matrix is about everything that brings you away further from your purpose, further from your meaningful life. So we all have been in these situations that we were moving away from what we actually wanted to do. So take a moment to go over a moment you had that. For me, it was, for example, a colleague who didn't treat me very well. I was angry at her, but I didn't give her feedback on time. So I didn't really speak up for myself, which is not in line with who I want to be. So what's an example of you moving away from the life you really want to live, or moving away from the person you would love to be? And how does that feel? And where do you feel that in your body? I feel it here, it doesn't sit, it doesn't, that's not me. That's not how I want it. So now we've got these 4 squares. We've got a matrix, and we're going to fill them out. So the right parts are values. And That's all about what's important to you. We think it, we feel it. It's our heart and our head. And there are maybe like over 200 different values. So maybe after this masterclass, take a moment, reflect on what are my 5 most important values. Why do I love to travel? Why do I love to work remote? Why is that? It's like a compass. But you and I, we can talk all day about values. But if we don't act on them, like nothing happens. So we have to take committed actions. Which behaviors can move you toward what's important to you? So if you have the value contribution, what can you do to contribute to the life of others and the world? If you have the value love or respect, what can you actually do? It could be small things, but it could also be big things, of course. So which behaviors match your values? So if one of your values is self-care, you could do some yoga, or you could take some breaks. Or you could read some articles when you want to contribute. So what's that? Like a lot of people love talking about inspiration and stuff, but when it comes down to literally taking action, people are like, I don't know. So great. We talked about the right side of the matrix. That's the part that gives us a good feeling. But the moment you're about to do something that's truly important to you, your mind will come up with a range of excuses why you shouldn't do it, why you'd better stay in your cozy comfort zone. So this actually dates from our ancestors. They always had to be cautious. They always had to be on the lookout because something bad could happen to us. So they were actually a little bit negative. They were actually a little bit scared because they had to. Like they had to be aware of a grizzly bear or like a tiger or something. And 9 out of 10 times they were wrong, it was just a squirrel. But the 10th time they were right. So actually the negative thinking, cautious, anxious ancestors, they survived. So we've been programmed still in our mind to be cautious, to have negative, critical thoughts. So our mind, my Anna, wants to help us keep us safe. And so when we are about to take a step out of our comfort zone and act upon what's important to us, our brain comes up with all those excuses why we shouldn't do it. I call it the excuse machine of the brain. Like, the sun is shining, it's raining. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. So many other things to do. I'll do it later. And that's our brain that wants us to keep us safe. So it's an excuse machine. That brings us to the left part of the matrix, internal obstacles. These are our inner world, everything that can move us away or further away, takes us further away from the life we really want to live. So the question here is, which internal obstacles have been getting in the way of moving toward what's important to you? And it can be excuses. So maybe you listen to this excuse machine all the time, and therefore it takes you further away from the life you really want to live. But it can also be thoughts, like other people are more clever, quicker, better, I just can't do it, I'm not good enough, what will others think of me? They'll discover that I'm not able to do this. We even have a word for that, it's imposter syndrome. So all these critical thoughts show up. Do you recognize it? Yes. Yes. Many thoughts. And actually everything comes down to I'm not good enough. I call it the I'm not good enough story. We all have it. And those thoughts are not the problem. As I said, we are programmed to have critical thoughts. And sometimes they even help you, like my Anna. She sometimes helps me to keep me safe. But the problem lies in that we can listen to them, that we are like seeing them as the truth. And that might be a problem, that we are hooked by them. Same as emotions. It's not a problem that we have emotions. We are human beings. I hope you've got emotions. But they can get in the way. If you are like, oh, I'm so stressed, or I'm so anxious, I'm so sad, and you're all hooked by your sadness and going over and over and over it, then it might be a problem. But just the emotion is not a problem. But they can get in the way. And sensations can get in the way too. So if you're all like, if I would be here and paying attention to, I don't know, a pain I've got or something, and I'm so focused on my pain, I couldn't make like a connection with you. I couldn't give my presentation as I want to give it. So the problem is not that pain. The problem is that I'm focused on trying to get rid of it or give it a lot of attention. So in short, well, not very in short, there's a lot of text on it. But when we start doing what matters to us most, uncomfortable feelings, thoughts, and sensations show up. That's part of the deal, especially when it's something new. Because if we don't care about something, if I don't care about something, I don't have those critical thoughts. I don't feel anxious because it's just not, it doesn't bother me. And as these thoughts, feelings, and sensations are not very nice, we don't want to have them. So we want to get rid of them, of course. I'd rather feel happy all the time than sad, obviously. So we as human beings, we found like perfect strategies for this. To don't have to think about these thoughts, don't have to experience those feelings, those sensations. We've got strategies in place for that. And in the short term, they do work quite well. That's why we keep going with them. So there are some examples. Maybe you recognize them, maybe not. I do think there are quite a lot you might recognize. For example, when I'm preparing something difficult, so maybe a difficult conversation I have to have with my clients or something, and this critical voice shows up, or I get an uncomfortable feeling in my body, I'm like, oh, I don't want to have it. So I'll start Netflix. Perfect. I grab a bar of chocolate with it. I feel totally fine. Don't have to think about it. I'm not feeling all these uncomfortable feelings. It's perfect. Thank you, Netflix. And even like I start a new episode. I made this very easy at Netflix, so I don't even have to click on the next series button, right? So it does work in the short time. And that's why I keep on doing it. And that brings us to like the left part, the upper part of it. So what have you been doing so far to deal with and move away from the internal obstacles that you don't want to have? So because when I finished with my whole binge watching and my bars of chocolate, when I finished it brought me further away because it was an important talk with my clients. So it brought me further away from the person I want to be, brought me further away from what I want to bring into the world, for example. And what happens after my binge watching? I'm such a loser. I did do it again. Oh my God. And I feel even worse. So I'm in this vicious circle, and we all get there. That's like very normal. We all get there at times. And that vicious circle is like taking the highway in your brain. You've been there so many times. It's so easy. Not think about it. Having a stressful day, open the fridge, pour a wine. Easy. We don't even think about it. It's a highway, especially when we are tired and stressed. It's easy. So it's normal. And the challenge is to take this new and unknown path in the forest. And that's easier said than done. Because especially when we're stressed, especially when we don't feel well, or we are tired, it's hard to take an unknown path, a path that's never been walked on in the bush. And this unknown path in the forest, it's the green arrow. And that's all about while you are feeling unwell, while you are having these critical voices in your mind, still act on what's important to you. And this is huge, as most gurus, as I already said, and most self-help books are all about you should get rid of these emotions. You should get rid of these negative thoughts. You should feel positive. But it's part of the deal. It's part of the deal of being alive and being a human being. Things happen to us. We get emotions, we get thoughts. So the answer is in making room for this and still do it. So an example of a filled out matrix, I always let people fill in this matrix. So feel free to make a picture of it and take a moment the upcoming week to fill one matrix out for yourself. An example is when one of your values could be adventure and contribution. A committed action could be having this chat with your manager about working abroad. If this is what a wish you have already for a long time, one step, one committed action could be having this conversation with your manager, although it might feel difficult, although you might be the first person in the whole organization who's going abroad or wants to go abroad, because you're acting up on your values. But what can happen is, oh, I can't do it. They don't want me to. They won't allow me. What will my family think? You might feel guilty when you're going abroad, leaving everyone behind. All those things show up. It makes you restless. It makes you stressed. And maybe you've got a behavior as in oh, I feel stressed. It's too difficult. I'm not thinking about having this chat with my manager. I'll go and start to clean my house. I've heard many people saying that's a strategy of them to get rid of those negative thoughts and feelings. I'm not one of them. Sometimes I wish that was my strategy, cleaning the house. But yeah, still. Okay. But this could be a matrix filled out. And why is this so important or a handy tool? It is because when you do fill this out, or when you have a chat with a friend about your matrix or about this critical voice, what you do is you get into the observer position. And the observer position, you can see this as being in a helicopter view, looking at it from above. What is happening inside of me? What do I truly need? What do my body, mind, and soul need to go to the right path? Or maybe give yourself a compliment. Hey, I'm having this chat with my manager. Or hey, I booked this ticket. I'm living my values. Or hey, I contributed to someone that's close to my heart. Or maybe, hey, I'm in the middle of cleaning my house again. That's not what I wanted. That doesn't bring me to the right direction. So being in that observer point, gives you a choice. And that's the most important thing ever. Because you're not taking the highway, you're not unaware of it. You are getting aware of it, and therefore you can choose. Am I going the direction that takes me further from what I really want? Or am I going the direction that's important to me, although I've got a difficult time, although this voice shows up? And then you still can choose to watch Netflix. You can still choose to clean your house. And an important note on that is workability. Is it working for me here and now? So the thing about this is that a behavior on itself is not good or bad. We think oh, yoga is good, or drinking alcohol is bad. We see it differently here. If you, what I just said, if you had a stressful day and your coping is to not think about it, open your fridge, pour in a wine for yourself, it could be on the upper left. It could be that you are trying to get rid of your stress. Then it could be on the left, and it could bring you further take you further from the life you really want. But if you are in the sun, with your friends, with your coworkers, on a cafe, and you order a wine, it could be on the right. It could be in line with your values, to relax, be with other people. And yoga or going to the gym could be on the right, taking care of yourself, of your well-being. It could be on the right, but I see a lot of people that are like they're, for example, they had a lot of ice cream and they ate and they feel guilty. Like, especially mostly women, they are like, I'm getting fat. I should take care of myself. Stupid me, did it again. And they feel guilty and they go then to the gym or to the yoga or whatever. Then it could be on the left because they want to get rid of those critical thoughts and feelings. They're not taking care of themselves, they're punishing themselves. So it's about, does it work for you, this behavior in here and now? And everything with compassion. So when your critical voice shows up, just say, thank you. Okay. Or when you're cleaning a house again, you just say like, oh, okay, I'm doing it again. I just didn't want to feel it. I drank again, I binge watched again. It's right. Okay, up to something else. Not very in short again, but I'll try to wrap it up. Looking at it from a distance means that it's still there. I hope I've been clear about that now. It is normal to have feelings and sensations and emotions. Emotions are just like the weather. So there might be a rainbow, there might be sun, there might be thunder. We can't control our feelings, but we can be the sky. And the sky has room for everything. It has room for those rainbows. It has room for the sun. It has room for the thunder. So sometimes being in this observer position, in this helicopter view, is like being like the sky. Just watch it passing by. And a thing that can help you with that is mindfulness, obviously. So you can see your thoughts as cars passing by. Just notice it. Just what I just did. Like, hey, there's Anna. Oh, hey, this is critical voice. Hey, there's my not good enough story. And to give you some quick tips to wrap it up, is one of the things is what shall I share? I'm having the thought that this sounds stupid, but I really want to give it to you because I know it's very powerful. Next time your critical voice is beating you up, use this sentence before it, or even write it down. That's even more powerful. I am having the thought that I'm not good enough. I am having the thought that other people will think this or that from me when I post it on social media. And then even I notice I'm having the thought that that's even more powerful. It will take you in the helicopter a bit more as well. So I notice I'm having the thought that. And what I notice in my trainings, they're looking a bit blank at me, the participants, and yeah, sure, right. Just a sentence. But when I actually do it, they're enthusiastic. It does work. You're not getting rid of the thoughts, but it does help you to look at it from a bit of a distance. So my Anna showed up with our audio. She showed up, but it wasn't like I didn't get hooked by it. And that's what I wish for you as well. Another one is you are not your feelings. So we are used to say like, I am angry. I am frustrated. I am sad. We are not our feelings. These are just energies. Those are just feelings. So try to learn to say like, I am feeling sadness. I have the feeling of depression. I have the feeling of anxiousness. It's something else. You're not your feelings. They might hurt you, but there's a space in us that's like the sky that can't get hurt. And sometimes we can get a glimpse of it, of that sky. And that's by training yourself in mindfulness. I use the app Headspace. There are many apps outside, but I use that. And it's like training in a gym. Just like when you are not from core training, this 50-minute core app training, you don't get a six-pack, unfortunately. I've tried it. But the same with mindfulness. Do it over and over and over again. Only for a couple of minutes would work. You can also like mindful cook or mindful walk or mindful, I love swimming, so I go for a swim and like really pay attention to how my body is in the water. So take care of yourself, what your body, mind, and soul need. And just notice it. So I want to ask you to give your critical voice a name as well. So first thing that shows up, a lot of people do have the name of their mom. It might be for you as well or not. Yeah. So next time you can say like, oh, there she is again, there he is again. It does help. And like a lot of my friends do have, I know the critical name of a lot of my friends. So we are like, we can help each other with it. Like, oh, I hear you're Katie speaking or not. And then we laugh about it. And then it doesn't hook you anymore. You're not attached to it anymore. So have a little play with it. So to end with it, what is your next step to follow your heart? You've listened to the visualization. What did you feel? What will be your next step? Is it a big step? Are you taking the leap? Are you jumping out of a plane or booking this ticket? Or is it just a small step? So think about it. What will you do next 24 hours? And you've had like a lot of powerful keynotes, talks, tours. You've met a lot of new people. So maybe just pick one thing. Like maybe connection is important to you. And you've got all these new people. So who are you going to reach out to? That's a very small thing. Just pick one. What are you actually going to do? So you might be overwhelmed with information, but like pick just one thing. What is the action that brings me to the right side of my matrix? So that's it. I'm happy to answer questions if you have them. Oh.
We're shifting over for the frame. Okay, thanks, Mariska. That was great. I really zenned out for a while there and finally took the time this week for a much-needed Wellbeing Masterclass. I'm sure everyone enjoyed that, and you'll add the link to that visualization so we can tune in as needed. Thanks, everyone. That wraps up Day 6's live stream. Tomorrow is a bit of a digital detox. We will not be live streaming Day 7 because we'll be out in Zagreb County. We're heading to an eco village and summerboard. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye.